The night at Maplewood Apartments was unusually still. Mr. William, the watchful night guard, was about to take another sip of his coffee when a faint rustling caught his attention. He looked up sharply. At the gate stood a little girl, trembling, her tear-streaked face partially hidden by messy braids. She approached cautiously, glancing over her shoulder as though being followed. "Are you okay?" William asked gently, crouching to her level. The girl didn't respond at first, but when she leaned in, her whisper froze him in place. "He's hiding, and he has a knife." Before we dive into this gripping story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what you would do in William's place. Now, Mr. William was a fixture of Maplewood Apartments. In his mid-50s, with a graying beard and a kind demeanor, he had been the night watchman for over a decade. Known for his meticulous routines and friendly wave to late-night wanderers, he was beloved by residents. William took pride in his work, believing that keeping others safe was his purpose. The apartment complex was an idyllic community, with children's laughter filling the afternoons and families strolling in the evenings. But at night, when the world grew silent, it was William's time to ensure everything remained as it should be. On this particular night, the usual peace felt slightly off. William couldn't pinpoint why, but something gnawed at his gut. Maybe it was the eerie stillness of the courtyard or the faint sound of rustling leaves. He dismissed it as his imagination, chalking it up to the long hours. The clock had just struck midnight when he saw her. The little girl's appearance was so sudden it felt surreal. She didn't belong to any family in the apartments. William knew every resident by name, yet there she was, alone, scared, and looking over her shoulder as if someone might grab her at any moment. As she approached, he noticed her clothes were slightly torn, her knees scraped. A protective instinct rose in him. He crouched to her level, trying to appear non-threatening. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked gently. The girl hesitated, her lips trembling. "Emma," she whispered. "Emma, are you hurt? Are your parents nearby?" She shook her head, her eyes darting nervously. Then, leaning in closer, she whispered those chilling words. "He's hiding, and he has a knife." William froze. His mind raced. He scanned the dark perimeter of the complex, but saw nothing unusual. "Lucifer!" "Who's hiding, Emma? Where?" he pressed, his voice steady despite the fear creeping in. The girl's gaze flicked toward the cluster of bushes near the playground. "He followed me here. Please don't let him find me." William's heart pounded as he assessed the situation. He couldn't leave Emma alone, but he needed to confirm her story. Staying calm, he guided her to the security booth, locking the door behind them. "Emma, I'm going to help you," he said firmly, "but I need you to stay quiet and tell me everything you know. Can you do that?" Emma nodded, clutching a stuffed rabbit she'd been hiding in her hoodie pocket. "He's been watching our house for days," she began, her voice barely audible. "Tonight, he broke in. My mum told me to run and hide, but I heard her screaming." Her voice cracked, tears streaming down her face. "I ran here because she always said you were a good man." William felt a lump in his throat. He couldn't let this girl down. Peering out the window, he scanned the complex for any sign of movement. The bushes near the playground rustled slightly, though no wind was blowing. Reaching for his phone, he dialed 911. He kept his voice calm but firm as he described the situation. "There's a possible intruder armed with a knife hiding in the Maplewood Apartments complex," he told the operator. "A little girl says her family might be in danger. Please send officers immediately." The operator assured him help was on the way. Hanging up, William turned his attention back to Emma. "The police are coming," he said reassuringly. "We're going to be okay. I just need you to stay here while I check outside." Emma's grip tightened on his arm. "Don't leave me," she pleaded. William hesitated. He wanted to protect her, but if the man was still out there, he needed to keep him away from the booth. Grabbing his flashlight and a heavy metal baton, he stepped out, locking the door behind him. The courtyard was eerily quiet. His flashlight beam cut through the darkness, illuminating the playground. The bushes rustled again, and this time William caught a glimpse of movement. A shadowy figure darted behind the equipment. "Who's there?" William called out, his voice echoing. No response. Clutching the baton tightly, he moved closer, his senses on high alert. Suddenly, the figure lunged from the shadows. It was a man, dressed in dark clothes, with wild eyes and a menacing grin. In his hand gleamed a knife. William reacted instinctively, swinging the baton. The man dodged and slashed at him, narrowly missing his arm. William shouted, hoping to alert any nearby residents. The confrontation felt like an eternity, though it lasted only seconds. Just as the man prepared to lunge again, the wail of police sirens filled the air. The flashing red and blue lights cut through the darkness, and officers poured into the courtyard, guns drawn. "Drop the weapon," an officer commanded. The man hesitated but ultimately complied, dropping the knife with a clatter. He was quickly subdued and handcuffed. William let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. The danger was over. Emma, hearing the commotion, peeked out from the security booth. When she saw the man being led away, she ran to William, throwing her arms around him. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. The officers searched the man and found duct tape, rope, and a photo of Emma's family in his pocket. It was clear he had been planning this for some time. The police escorted William and Emma to her home, where they found her mother and younger brother tied up but unharmed. The family's tearful reunion was a moment of pure relief. Back at the station, the police praised William for his bravery and quick thinking. "You likely saved an entire family tonight," one officer said, shaking his hand. Emma's mother couldn't stop thanking him. "You're a guardian angel," she said, tears in her eyes. For William, the events of that night were a reminder of why he took pride in his job. Protecting others wasn't just a duty, it was his calling. In the days that followed, the residents of Maplewood Apartments rallied around William. Parents stopped by to thank him. Children drew pictures of him as a hero, and the complex manager awarded him a special commendation. But for William, the greatest reward was seeing Emma's smile, knowing she and her family were safe. From that day on, their bond remained unbreakable. He became more than a watchman to Emma. He was her protector, her friend, and her hero. This story is a testament to how courage and quick thinking can change lives. What would you have done in Mr. Williams' place? Let us know in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Remember, heroes come in all forms. Sometimes they're the ones watching over us when we least expect it. Nylon.